All right, so we'll discuss about importance of critical and creative thinking. But before that, let me share to you our objective for tonight. So at the end of this lesson, I'm expecting everyone to learn more about why is it that critical thinking and creative thinking is important, the uses of critical thinking and characteristics of a good thinkers. So here, let's discuss more about the importance of critical thinking. Critical thoughts is necessary for analyzing arguments and make wise decisions. So, according to the theme as well, it is important to learn these two, or learners to learn these two, because it serves as the basic foundation for democracy and tools needed for independence or lifelong learning. So here it is highlighted for independence and lifelong learning. So we require, or we as a teacher or future teachers need to nurture learners critical thinking and creative thinking, because um, they are not just limited to the four corners of the classroom. There will be a time that they'll go out to the world. So their critical and creative thinking skills will help them throughout with that, because it will help them analyze arguments or things. It will help them evaluate and be aware. So with that, they will be considered as the wise decision maker, or they can actually produce good decisions when they have their critical thinking. So make accurate decisions through the use of critical thinking and become a useful individual in the future, not just today, but also in the economy, or yeah, as a whole. So it will also enable them to develop acceptance with to achieve rationality, justice, and truth. So if they are aware of what's going on, of if they are able to analyze, they can also choose or make a decision or do the right thing which they like the most in a reasonable way. Sometimes it involves logic thinking with a sound mind. So here, if we nurture our students' critical thinking skills, then most likely they'll be able to achieve rationality, justice, and of course, they will be able to accept the truth. Creative thinking, on the other hand, enable learner to move beyond memorization. So here, it is also needed to be developed, because it is necessary for decision making, not just critical thinking, as well as creative thinking. It really helps for decision making as well. So here, sometimes or most of the time, especially with the traditional teaching, we thought that the only technique that we can use is memorization, especially if it's an assessment for paper and pen. So that's why it is a challenge for us or for teachers, because we need to use our creativity as well in preparing for an assessment, to make sure that we challenge our students' creative and critical thinking skills. So here we are developing them. So that's why we're giving them assessment wherein they can use these skills as well. So I've done a quick research on this through Google, and here's what I've got. So it says here that critical thinking is a domain or general thinking skills. So they're considered as general thinking skill, because critical thinking, we can actually use or apply this anywhere. So here, no matter what path or profession you pursue, these skills will always be relevant and beneficial to your success. Yeah, just like I said, it is applicable to everything that we do. So it is also crucial for the economy, because critical thinkers are good decision makers. So they are a useful individual in the economy, especially with the advent of technology. We need people who are critical thinkers in terms of technology, information, and innovation. Um, it is needed because they contribute a lot for a fast growing economy and solve problem as quickly as possible. So it also here says that improve language and presentation skills. Of course, our critical thinking, not just learning the language itself, but we have to learn how to extract or break down text. In turn, will improve our ability to comprehend. When we present, we have to have the knowledge about basic use of language or how to use it properly. So that's why we have to use our critical thinking. Says here it promotes creativity. So by practicing our creative thinking skills, we are allowing ourselves not only to solve problem but also to come up with new and creative ideas. With the help of our critical thinkings, we can also think creatively or produce creative ideas. Next, it's important for self-reflection. So sometimes we need to stop and we need to self-reflect and justify our ways of life and opinions, especially those opinions that we have done in the past. Critical thinking provide tools for us to self-evaluate. We are not just evaluating arguments or anything that we have or informations. We are also need to evaluate ourselves if we are still on the right path or if we are still doing the right thing. Next is creative thinking. It says here that it provides immense freedom. So yeah, and provide self-awareness, more confidence in our ideas. So I have to agree with that because when we create, we also have the opportunity to engage with the world or with other people here without judging ourselves. Because sometimes if we are lack of creative thinking, we tend to question ourselves, can I do that? Can I really do that? Sometimes we will question ourselves or how far we can go or what we can do, or we can question if we can do that, or we are concerned of what people say because we know that we have or we are lack of this skill. With our own ideas, using our own ideas, we can consider that we are producing authenticity because we are using our own thoughts, feelings and beliefs as well. So it allows us to discover ourselves and what we can do, of course. If we have this creativity, we have the confidence to join groups because we know that we can contribute. Yeah, that's really nice. So aside from that, creativity will always be in high demand as it is not something robots can replace easily. By developing this skill, individuals differentiate themselves from other candidates. Do not compare yourself into a robot because they are pre-programmed. So they cannot think creatively or they cannot think critically because they are just limited as they are programmed. So as a human being or individual, it's a gift that our teachers give us or that we can give to our future students because they will carry this throughout your life, even outside the classroom. It's like that we are preparing them for a battle of life. So that's why we need to make them a good thinker or a wise decision maker so they can be useful to the economy or to the society, and also to be independent with themselves. So in the same, there is an argument there. So it says that today's researchers argue that critical and creative thinking are more than simply technical skills. Do you agree with that? So by the way, technical skill is one of which can be taught in the same way across the number of contexts without involving an individual's basic feeling, beliefs, motive, and any significant way. So they says here, creative and critical thinking Dao, we can actually develop or we can use that without involving our feelings, beliefs, or even without motivation. So let's see. Here, I have highlighted this as facts because for me it is true because I've experienced this myself. So I can consider critical thinking and creative thinking are not this type of skills or technical merely as technical skills. They are really different. So such thinking is highly dependent upon human purpose. So methods of this will follow from purpose. So I would have to agree with this because um, activating our creative and critical thinking skills will solely depend upon the purpose or desires what we desire the most, or what's the purpose of doing that. Sometimes if you don't have the desire or purpose, it will be hard for you to think, or it will be hard for you to create something. So when you are creating or generating ideas, so you have the purpose why you are doing that. So regardless of your methods, it will always follow from the purpose why you are doing that. Next is thought is shaped by content, facts, concepts, principles, and theories of various disciplines or fields by one's experiences and observations. Of course, what is inside your mind is shaped by what you have learned. It is shaped by or your experiences and observations contribute a lot that you have in your mind. So here, what theories that you have learned or principles, regardless if it's part of your beliefs or cultures. So here, it will help shape your thought. Critical and creative thinking may contain some common elements, of course they do, but they also take unique forms in unique areas of study. Okay. Um, it simply means that critical and creative thinking differ from technical skills because technical skills you can actually use them in same forms or same elements. So regardless if you are learning mathematics or if you are learning science or arts, you can use critical thinking or critical I'm sorry, you can actually use technical skills. However, when it comes to creative thinking and critical thinking, yes, they have common elements, but they are used in a unique form. So what I am trying to say is that the creative thinking or critical thinking that you use in solving your problem in algebra, you cannot apply that in developing or making a steps for your art class. Same as the techniques or the thinking critical and creative thinking that you have used in experiment project or experiment task, you cannot use that in any other subjects because they are in a unique form, so or in a unique areas of study. So sometimes what you use in your algebra, it may differ from other subjects because they have different contexts or concepts, contents, and etc. So they actually differ from technical skills. So technical skills is just merely as general, we can use it as anywhere or any subject, but creative and critical thinking, it is used in a unique forms or areas of study. So uses of critical thinking underlies reading, writing, speaking, and listening. These are the basic communication skills. So without this, we cannot use our critical thinking because it will be harder for us. So it also helps us uncover bias and prejudices. If you're a critical thinker, you tend to be questioning, or you tend to look for answers to your question in proof and evidences. It's also a path to freedom, half truth, and deception. Of course, the freedom from what we have discussed earlier, and it will save us from believing fake news. Critical thinking and learning are intimately linked. I do believe in that because through critical thinking, we are also learning. If we are learning, then we can activate our critical or we can use our critical thinking skills. So these are the characteristic of critical thinkers. Just read it and you have to self-reflect. And if you have these skills or you have these characteristics, then you can consider yourself as critical thinkers. All right, I think that's it for my report. Thank you very much for listening.